What's up, y'all? Welcome to Casual Talk. I'm Fight Night Kelvin. This is Michael.
What's up?
What is going on?
What's up, everybody?
So what's going on, Mike?
Not much, man. Other than a lot of rock climbing, being in the gym, working out.
Okay.
You know, so nothing much other than those. Really enjoying my time off. And I just came back from an event last weekend for work at Animanga 2019 in Pomona.
Anime?
Anime. It's an anime expo, and that was exhausting as fuck.
Okay.
But it's good to be back and finally doing this again this week. So
All right.
let's get this started. So the first thing that we should dive into is Lawler versus Covington.
Yes.
Now, before we start, did you get a chance to see it?
I did.
Okay, so I did not get a chance to see this.
Okay.
So I was at Anime Expo. I was working on weekend.
Yep.
And I was thinking, okay, this thing's going to start at 7 p.m.
Yep.
I cannot wait to watch this because I was so excited for this fight.
Right.
So I get off, I clock off, I'm driving home, and I happen to look at my phone.
Okay.
I go on Instagram, right?
Yep.
The first thing I see was a post from ESPN MMA.
Okay.
Covington wins.
Yes.
I fucking paused for like 2-3 seconds, and I
Yeah.
was like, are you fucking shitting me?
Yeah.
You're telling me that this thing started before 7 and I missed this fight?
Yeah.
I was so damn pissed off.
Yeah. Main card started at noon.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
I did not know. I was under the assumption that these cards started at 7, the fight night cards.
No.
Like even
They can move
pay-per-views, we're so used to starting them at 7.
Yeah.
And this thing started way before that, and I fucking missed it, and
Yeah.
I was so pissed off.
Yeah.
So pissed off. So I didn't get to see it. I didn't have a chance to see the replay. All I can say is from what I heard, it was a dominating fashion from Covington.
Yep.
I saw the number, like some ridiculous number of strikes that he he shot or
over the course
landed.
Over the course of 5 rounds, 25 minutes, he threw north of 500 strikes.
That is crazy.
And attempted at least 20 takedowns.
That is
It's
crazy.
absurd. It's crazy.
A guy against Lawler, you would not expect that to happen.
No, and that's the thing about this fight is that going into this fight, I mean, I'm not on the hater train, right?
Mhm.
So I appreciate people's skills just for what they are. So I'm a big fan of Colby.
Dude, he's starting to grow on me. It's
yeah,
weird
so
for me to say that.
The whole shtick,
It's weird.
it's kind of whatever. But
yeah,
his skills in the cage, I've been a big
For
fan
sure.
of for a while, and especially after his last fight versus RDA, I knew I was like, this guy is absolutely no joke.
Yeah.
Like he can bring the pace.
right.
He wrestles. He's a pressure wrestler. He can. But I mean, his striking doesn't really stand out to me, but it's definitely good enough for him to land stuff in there.
Right.
So
what were your takeaways watching the fight?
okay, yeah. So I actually picked Robbie Lawler for this fight.
I did too.
Yeah,
I was
it's-
leaning on Robbie.
Yeah, and I'll explain. So I just thought stylistically it was actually a good matchup for Robbie because we knew that the way that Colby wants to fight is he wants to bully you, right? He wants to get in your face. He wants to wrap around your waist, wants to push you against the cage and make you work,
Yeah.
wrestle you, right? Push you up
Yep.
against the cage, take you down. If you get back up, get you right back down. It makes you want to work. And I felt like this was a good matchup for Robbie because I felt like Robbie had the strength and the wrestling background to be able to, I don't want to necessarily say completely stop it, but definitely slow Colby down.
Right.
And if you can slow Colby down, keep him in the center of the cage and start exchanging strikes,
Mm-hmm.
then you can make it interesting. And Robbie hits harder than Colby does.
Oh, no question.
So I figured if Robbie can do a good enough job of keeping Colby off of him, slowing down that pressure, get him in the center of the cage, and start exchanging, he could land something heavier than Colby is used to.
Mm-hmm.
And ultimately, I thought that was going to make the difference in the fight. Now, it's not that I'm necessarily surprised that Colby did what he did,
I was surprised.
because that's what he does, right? Like he literally did exactly what he did to everybody else.
Yeah.
He did the same thing to Robbie. So, I mean, I'm not necessarily shocked that he was that I'm not shocked at what he did, but I am a little shocked that he was able to do it that effortlessly. Robbie looked like, I mean, when we watched the Ben Askren fight,
Mm-hmm.
right? That's such a controversial fight, and say what you want, say what you will about whatever, right? But at the end of the day, the fight counted as a loss.
Right.
And even though it counted as a loss, we all looked at Robbie and thought, this dude looks crazy.
Yeah,
looks
he
in
looked
better
great.
shape
I
than he looked in
mean,
a long
from the
time.
start of the fight, he looked
Yeah.
fantastic.
So I figured, I was like, if he comes in looking like this,
Yeah.
then we're going to have a good
Right.
fight. And we did not.
No.
Colby just terrorized
that. To me, the biggest shocker was Robbie not being Robbie from what I was
100%.
reading and hearing.
100%.
That was the biggest shocker.
Yeah.
And if there is a big takeaway for me on this fight, it was that this was such a big statement win for Colby.
Absolutely.
I think there's no question that now this puts him in the map. Like, if you didn't recognize him as...
he's getting next title shot.
No question. If you didn't recognize him as a legit contender, now you should.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I was so shocked by that because I was not expecting him to dominate the way that he did against the fight against Robbie.
And there's a lot of things that are really great. Number one, he did something that's kind of like counterintuitive to somebody that has that great a pace.
Right.
And he came out heavy.
Yeah.
Literally within the first couple of seconds that the fight started, he threw heavy shots. And I thought to myself, like, is it the adrenaline? Is it the fact that the Trumps are in the building?
It's that cardio, bro. Right? If you're in the bedroom, that cardio that you rave about.
Rounds. Yeah. But, man, it's crazy. This dude can bring first-round pace for 5 rounds.
Yeah, this was such a big statement win for him, no question. And now this has got me more excited about the Usman fight. Really excited.
Yeah.
And I'm curious on how that plays out because it seems like their styles are a bit similar.
They're very similar.
Yeah.
They're very similar.
They love to, because they're known for their cardio, it seems like, and they love to pin you against the cage and just tire you out.
Right.
Right. And Colby was wanting to show his side of striking on this fight, which I think he did.
He did. And that's the really disappointing part about this fight is that, granted, I thought Robbie would do a better job defensively, but I would still give the edge in wrestling and pressure like that to Colby. So, but going into the fight, I mean, if you would have told me what happens if this turns out to be a 25-minute grappling exchange, I would have told you that Colby would come out on top. But what was really disappointing is that where Robbie should have shined, which is that mid-range boxing range.
Yep.
He got outboxed.
Yeah, that's the shocking thing that I took away all this.
There were giant moments, especially in the first 3 rounds, where he wasn't throwing anything at all.
Yeah.
And even the commentators, I'm pretty sure to give some credit to Robbie. And, I mean, given that it's Robbie, it wasn't that unfair of an assumption. But they were just saying that he was probably saving himself for the later rounds because I'm telling you, man, he wasn't doing anything.
Yeah.
Colby was in his face, right? Not even shooting for takedowns, just standing with him and trading. And Robbie had his guard up and kept moving his head, but without throwing any strikes. Colby's just coming at him, throwing strikes. Robbie has his hands up, moving his head, not throwing a single thing. It was crazy.
Yeah.
And then you expected 4th, 5th round for him to start opening up. And he did a little bit, but he never opened up to the point where it looked like he was trying to win the fight. Even when we got into like 30 seconds left in the 5th round, even when we got to clackers with 10 seconds left, we didn't see anything from Robbie that showed like, I want to win this fight.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, that was a shocking part. And then, of course, how Colby Covington was just a shocker to me. But say what you want to say about the guy. He talks shit, but he backs it up.
He does.
There's something about that I gravitate towards. So Colby, he's growing on me. I'm not hating on him as much as I did before. I mean, he's backing it up. So
he is.
He's definitely legit. And I'm excited to see him fight again. Because we know he's going to talk shit, sell the fight. I mean, I even saw the videos on the post-fight interview against him and Usman going back and forth. That was hilarious. Bad. And did you see how he had a mishap during his post-fight interview in the octagon where he was trying to say, Madison Square, do it? And
words
that was
hard.
hilarious to me. So, now he's funny, and he's starting to grow on me. So, I'm not really becoming I want to see him lose so bad. Now I'm like, oh, shit, this guy can fight.
That fight's going to be good.
He's legit.
With Kamaru.
I think so, too.
Yeah.
I think so, too. I hope it happens before the end of the year.
It sounds like it should.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If anything, November in Madison Square Garden or December. I don't know where their December card will be in Vegas.
Right. Probably. They usually have
So I hope to see it before the year's end because, I mean, to be honest, Covington's kind of long due a title shot.
He is.
He kind of is.
I mean, he won the interim title in June of last year.
I mean, it was a year that he did not fight.
Right.
And then he takes on this Lawler fight. And then he puts the performance that he did against Lawler.
Yep.
Because we were thinking, okay, well, if Colby doesn't get a exciting finish or doesn't, come away victorious, I mean, Masvidal can maybe leapfrog him.
Right.
But the statement win that he had this past weekend, I think, give the man a shot. Let's see it happen, and let's see him and Usman finally get an octagon and see what ends up happening.
Right. You know, like a basic rule of thumb is a stronger statement is made by a finish. But he made about as strong a case as you could make going 5 rounds.
I mean, all I read online was just dominant.
Yeah.
Dominating. And I was not expecting that against Robbie Lawler.
Right.
I was really expecting a close fight.
Yeah.
And I was expecting Robbie Lawler, his striking to take over.
Well, that's the first thing that I thought of when the fight got announced.
Yeah.
Is I was like, number one, it's good that he's taking another fight.
Yeah.
But as a guy who wants to see him get that title
For
shot,
sure.
taking that fight versus
That was a
Robbie
risk to me.
dangerous. Yeah,
that
absolutely.
was a very big risk. Because if he loses that fight, I don't think he gets a title shot. You don't get a title shot off a loss.
Probably not. No, definitely not. Yeah.
So he took a big risk, but it paid off for him perfectly.
It did.
You know, so that's crazy. So that's our thoughts about Lawler and Covington. Now let's move on to Cyborg and her being released from the UFC. So we saw this coming.
You said something last week, and it was reverberating inside me every single time.
I saw this coming like miles away.
You said if she resigns with the UFC, I'll be shocked.
I will be. Yeah.
Yeah.
I did say that.
Yeah.
I mean, you can see it. I mean, her relationship with Dana is so toxic.
It is.
You know, they're just talking shit to one another, and Dana trashing her on all these interviews, and then Cyborg, you know, trashing Dana. It didn't seem like it was going to work.
No.
And so I was like, there's no way this is going to continue.
Right.
There's no way.
And Dana he just keeps lashing out at her, even though that.
I mean, there was an interview I saw just right now that he's still trashing her.
Yeah, he said she doesn't want to fight Amanda Nunes because she knows that she'll knock her out in the first round again.
Right.
She knows it's a fact.
Right.
You know, like just. Hey.
My theory is I think Dana's thinking that Cyborg doesn't want to fight Nunes because she's not willing to sign a 5-fight contract.
Yeah.
I think that's why he's thinking that.
I want to know how much truth there is, though, about the fact that they were trying to give her the fight and she and Cyborg was asking for other people. I want to know how much truth
I
there is
heard.
to that.
So there was an interview that, you know, and it was interesting the way that they released that information, how Dana had a sit-down interview with some lady, I can't remember her name, but the UFC put that out. Yeah. And then that's where he announced that they were cutting ties with her. Yeah. And
Lorisenko.
Yeah, and he was talking, or Dana was saying stuff that what you were just saying, that she wanted other fights before the Amanda Nunes fight. Yeah. Easier fights, in his opinion. So that was a bit interesting to learn. Yeah. Or to hear him say. Right.
But I mean, now that we're on the other side, we know that she's not coming back. The wait starts.
Do you think this is, as far as a UFC standpoint, where the state of the featherweight division is now for the women's, is this a big hit for them?
Man,
on that division.
I mean, I guess so, just because Cyborg is just such a recognizable name. Yeah.
Because we were just talking about how, I mean, we named 3 fighters.
Yeah, I mean,
that are like legit featherweights.
Right.
You take away Cyborg, now you have what, 2?
Pretty much.
You know?
Yeah, I mean, because Megan Anderson has now lost to Cyborg and Felicia Spencer.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of tough. I feel like the situation ultimately is what's best for both parties, because for the UFC, it's not like they were necessarily counting on Cyborg for that featherweight division anymore. Especially that Amanda Nunes is the current champion. She'd be the favorite going into a rematch.
But who will she fight next?
Well, I don't know. She's probably going to stick around at bantamweight and defend.
You know, I mean, it's not really a division.
It's not.
It's kind of like the flyweight in the men's.
Yeah.
They're really.
I mean, no, flyweight.
Well, flyweight actually no. I'm sorry. I take that back. But when
I get what you mean though.
Yeah. Where it's like there's uncertainty.
Yes.
And I think with the featherweight, I mean, there's only 2 fighters. Are you gonna crown a champ when there's really only 2 fighters?
Well, I mean, Amanda Nunes definitely deserves to be a champion.
For sure. Yeah. And she's a bantamweight champion for sure. Yeah. But is there enough competition or even fighters in the division to even maintain it? Now that you take away Cyborg, who's been asking for that featherweight in the UFC for a while, and then she got it. Mm-hmm. yet they haven't filled it up with fighters.
Right.
So now my question is, do you just take away that division altogether?
So, I mean...
Or do you think Dan's going to go crazy and sign featherweight fighters?
I feel like...
Or at least that's what I hope.
So, when it came down to the uncertainty with the flyweight division, and they kept asking Dana White about it, he was very non-committal about it.
Mm-hmm.
He kept saying, we'll see how this thing plays out, blah, blah, blah. It took him a really long time to get to a point where he was comfortable saying, like, the flyweights are safe.
Yeah.
Like, we're going to be fine with this category. And it doesn't seem like he's doing the same thing with featherweights. They asked him... I can't remember what the exact question was, but I believe at the last UFC presser, they asked him if he had plans for the future of the featherweight division, and he said yeah. So it seemed
that's
like...
good to hear.
I mean, I don't know what that means. I don't know if that's promoting the current fighters that they have already a little bit better.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's necessarily signing more featherweights. We'll see. Maybe some featherweights show up on the Contender Series.
That's my big hope, or maybe how his envision of the UFC Apex.
Right, because we're getting rumblings now that we might get a second season of the Contender Series this year.
Oh wow, okay,
Yeah,
that's cool.
Because it's doing so well.
For sure.
So maybe that's what happens. We get some featherweight contenders in the Contender Series, which has been phenomenal so far.
Yeah.
The Contender Series has been...
There's some really been good fighters coming out of that.
100%. Yeah. There are some fights there's at least one fight on the Contender Series so far every week that I've watched this week that is like worthy of like not main event but like main card.
Right.
There's been solid fights
on the
Contender Series. Oh yeah.
Interesting.
Oh yeah.
Awesome. Where do you think Cyborg goes from here?
Personally, I think she ends up at Bellator.
You think
so? It just seems like the most natural fit. At PFL, I feel like it would be fun for her to do some stuff with the girls there. But just because of the way that organization runs, I don't know if it necessarily benefits her because, like, let's say right now, if she goes to Bellator, she could probably get an immediate title shot.
Do you think so?
Yeah.
I think she'll get a tune-up fight before that.
Who knows?
Personally.
I mean, I don't see the problem with that. But I'm sure even you could agree it'd be one tune-up fight at most.
For sure.
Right? So in 2 fights, she's looking at a title shot already.
Yeah.
Whereas opposed to in PFL, she's got to go through the same way that everybody else has to go through. You got to win your way into the playoffs.
Yep.
And then once you get into the playoffs, you got to work your way through that and win the title.
Yeah.
Which I'm not necessarily saying that she wouldn't be down to do. But if there's a better option for her and she could just go to Bellator, she's got good connections already with Scott Coker.
Yeah.
There's the featherweight champion there that already wants to fight her.
Yeah, I mean, she threw a little hint towards Cyborg on her Instagram. I think Cyborg has options. I think she can go the route with Bellator. There's still the ONE FC championship that she can do. Mm-hmm. She's even talked about going into boxing.
Yeah.
Which she can still do if she wanted to. I think she can end up making more money doing boxing. What do you think? There's more money to be made, it seems like, when you go into boxing.
Maybe. But I feel like the more compelling matchups are for her still in MMA.
Yeah.
And she does a really great job with her management team of really building her brand.
Yeah.
And you hear that a lot. And we're marketing majors, so we've heard that a lot, right? And
it's important.
It can get watered down a little bit when people keep mentioning that over and over again. Oh, build your brand. But she does it the correct way. She's doing stuff that isn't only necessarily related to fighting.
Yeah.
You know, she does other things. She does stuff for the community. If you go on her Twitter and Instagram, she just worked a regular shift at a Dunkin' Donuts, I think.
That's
in
hilarious.
Tustin. Like, that's super cool stuff that she's just worked. Like, you can literally just go to Dunkin' Donuts right here in our backyard, basically, and just go order coffee from Cyborg. Like, you know what I mean? Like, the kind of stuff that people joke around about. Yeah. She does cool stuff like that. Yeah. I remember when I went to the presser for UFC 239.
That's the one with John Jones, right?
No, not 239. Sorry. 31, I want to say.
Yeah, I don't
32.
remember that.
Sorry, 32.
Wait, that is the John Jones
Gustafson one.
Yeah.
We're all just outside waiting for the presser to start. We're in line waiting for them to let us in, and she literally just walks out with
Cyborg?
Yeah.
Oh shit.
With a couple people from her crew and starts handing out stickers like in person.
Oh really?
Yeah, she just started walking around talking to people.
Was she taking pictures and?
Yeah.
Okay, that's dope.
Yeah, like stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Stuff like that would help her when she goes to somewhere like Bellator.
Yeah. Where
she can get, even more sponsors. She can get sponsored on her shorts. She can get that banner
for sure.
The fight starts.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's so much that Bellator and Cyborg could do together. I just feel like that's the best fit for her, probably.
Okay. Yeah, I think my prediction was that she was going to end up in Bellator. And we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
But, yeah, this crazy news about that. I think we can dive into the next topic between the recent wins of Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson
Yes.
and Eddie Alvarez.
Yes.
I didn't get to see the fights only because, like I said, or like I mentioned to you before, these fights happen 2 a.m. our time.
Right.
I think, was it 1 a.m., 2 a.m.?
Start. Yeah, they
That's
start.
too early for me to stay up to
Right.
watch a fight. So I saw highlights. What were your takeaways between these two guys?
Yeah, so going into the fights, I was a little nervous because there's so much to unpack here. Number one, when it comes to ONE FC, we're aware of the way that they do weight cutting differently.
Yeah, they do hydration tests.
Yeah, so that you're not cutting all this weight. They measure your hydration to make sure that you're not cutting a ridiculous amount of weight and going in unhydrated. But what that means is that these guys that are fighting somewhere where they do weight cuts, like in UFC, and they go to one, they're starting to fight dudes that they're a little bit bigger than they're.
I was going to say that,
used
yeah.
to.
I think you mentioned that to me
And
before.
you could see it in the first matchups between Demetrius Johnson and Eddie Alvarez with their respective opponents, that they just look smaller.
Yeah.
Right? Which, I mean, isn't the end of the world, but you saw then what the performances happened. I mean, not to take anything away from Nasty Yukin, the guy that Eddie Alvarez fought, but I don't think anybody expected Eddie Alvarez to get worked like that.
Yeah, so what I've been reading was that, or what I've been seeing is he was losing at that fight. If I'm
So we're talking
mistaken.
about the most recent one, right?
Right.
So I'm talking about the first one.
Oh, the first fight.
The
Okay.
first
yeah.
Eddie Alvarez fight. I don't think anybody expected him to get worked like that. And then the first Demetrius Johnson fight
was a close one.
It was close.
Yeah.
He got challenged.
Yeah.
Right. Looking at the face-offs between their next opponents for this most recent fights, I thought the same thing again. I was like, wow. I was like, is this just going to be a common thread now? Is that they're going to look significantly smaller than all their opponents? So sure enough, we're watching the Eddie Alvarez fight and he gets put on his back, and I'm thinking to myself, oh God, here we go again. I can't believe this. But I mean, credit to Eddie Alvarez. He showed that he still has some fight in him because he had to grapple his way to a dominant position, wrapped up the submission, called it a day. It was beautiful. And then Demetrius Johnson, I mean, he's just being Mighty Mouse.
Yeah.
Gets the victory.
Yep.
Yeah,
I was reading that he pretty much was winning all rounds.
Yeah. I mean, he looked back to normal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I wonder what's Mighty. I think now that he won, he's in the final because they're doing a tournament.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
Eddie Alvarez, is he a part of a tournament for his division out there?
I don't believe so.
No.
I could be wrong on that. I haven't been following one all that much.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really hard to. I mean, as much as I love to try to get to watch as many fights as I can, especially other promotions, it's hard to keep up with one because of the time difference.
Yeah.
It's very hard. So most of the stuff that I'll watch is highlights off Instagram from their channel. So, I've been missing Mighty Mouse and Eddie Alvarez
We
fights.
should confirm that, though. I think Eddie Alvarez is part of the tournament, but I think it ironically has to do with some sort of
I can take a look at it right now.
because of some sort of injury, if I'm not mistaken. I could be tripping, but if I remember correctly, it might have been the guy that actually beat Eddie Alvarez that got injured.
No.
Yeah.
I thought I saw.
He's in the lightweight Grand Prix.
Yeah, I thought I saw that when I was looking through the card on Instagram. That's interesting because was he a part of it from his first fight, or was that just a tune-up?
I believe he got put into it because of injury,
Okay.
if I'm not mistaken.
Interesting. What do you take away from these two fighters particularly? I mean, do you feel like they're looking good? Do you see any slow off between, let's say, Eddie Alvarez, who's 35? I mean, can he continue to maintain the level that he's at right now?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think with Mighty Mouse, I mean, I don't think there's any drop off with him. He still looks great.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so then let's talk about this upcoming fight night at Uruguay. So I actually have the card pulled up here on my computer. So talk about some notable fights. To start from the bottom.
Yeah.
Let's do Volkan Ozdemir.
Volkan Ozdemir.
Ozdemir, okay. And I can't say his first name, but Latifi?
Alir Latifi.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that. Great fight.
It is a great fight.
I really like that fight.
Yeah.
I mean, what are your thoughts about that fight?
I think this is a good fight, specifically because it's two guys that look like they were on the way up the light heavyweight rankings.
Okay.
And then have slipped off as of recently. Volkan coming into the UFC was on a tear, was looking great. He was sparking people. I mean, just look at what he did to Jimmy Manawa. He just crushed him. And then, he gets put into a title shot versus DC, which is, even at the stage that he was in, was such a giant step up in competition.
Yeah.
And DC did what DC does to people.
Right. Well, who did he fight after that DC fight?
He fought Anthony Smith.
I think he lost that fight, right?
He did.
Yeah.
Yeah, which was kind of a surprise, to be honest with you. Smith was, at the time, currently trying to prove that he belonged in the light heavyweight division. But after the DC loss, conventional wisdom at that point still tells you that the favorite is Volkan. And Anthony Smith just showed why he's in the position that he's in. He gets a lot of criticism.
Anthony Smith?
He does.
He's a fucking hell of a fighter. I don't know why he gets a lot of
He gets a lot of criticism
slack.
for people that he's overrated, that he's not that good.
No, he's really good.
And it's the same thing. It's the same thing that, like, when people bring up the fact that, like, Tony Ferguson gets rocked a lot in his fights, right? It's like, yeah, which shows, some sort of deficiency in his defense. But the point of fighting is, how good are you at winning fights?
And how durable are you?
Exactly.
And I think Tony Ferguson is one durable person.
Absolutely. And Anthony Smith did the same thing in that fight versus Volkan.
Yeah.
He grinded out for that victory. Volkan got a little tired. Anthony was getting hurt.
Yeah.
But he still made it happen.
Yeah.
And then his third loss, and then he lost the third one in a row, which was super controversial. Even in my opinion, I think that the judges got it wrong. But he lost a split decision to Dominic Reyes.
Volkan?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at that Mike Perry fight. So I've been wondering when Mike Perry's going to fight again, because I thought his last fight was against Cowboy, but
oh my gosh,
I guess it's against Cowboy
Oliveira.
Oliveira.
Yeah, that was his last fight. But now he's fighting Vicente Luque, and holy cow.
He's ranked 15th. Mike Perry's not ranked right now.
Okay, so remember how the last pay-per-view, the Holloway card, I kept telling you about Nico Price versus Jeff Neal?
I remember that.
This is
the fight to keep an eye on,
yes.
okay?
Yes.
Well, I'm a big Mike Perry fan. I just love his attitude.
Oh yeah.
Like, you just see he's just like a fucking real motherfucker. Yeah. Like, don't mess with me. Fuck off. I like Mike Perry a lot, so I'm excited to watch him fight.
He's got a good sense of humor too.
Yeah. I'm leaning on Perry on this one just because I like him a lot as a fighter. I haven't seen Vicente fight at all.
Vicente Luque is a murderer.
This is the first time I'm gonna watch him fight. Yeah. But I'm rooting for Mike Perry on this one.
Okay.
Just because Mike Perry, he's a dog.
He is.
He will fight.
But again, you just said that you haven't watched Luque.
I haven't. So
hop on Fight Pass.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
Well, I took off Fight Pass. Until they added on new shit on there.
Okay.
Then we'll see. But I took off Fight Pass.
I can't.
I had to add HBO, bro. I gotta watch my Raiders on Hard Knocks.
Okay.
I'm living on a budget, so I had to figure shit out.
Yeah. Please don't stop watching the show just because my buddy's a Raiders fan.
Yeah. The main event, Valentina Shevchenko versus Liz Carmouche.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Good fight.
It is a good fight.
Really good fight. And I haven't seen Liz fought too often. I've seen her a couple times.
Mm-hmm.
But if these fighters fight how they did recently, Valentina, incredible.
Yeah, Liz is tough. But this is an absolute assassin.
So do you think this is a mismatch by any chance? Do you think
I think anybody fighting Valentina Shevchenko is a mismatch.
The way she looked in her last fight,
unless it's Amanda Nunes, pretty much everybody's a mismatch.
That fucking I still can't get over that fucking head kick to what's the girl's name?
She Holly Holm.
Well, but what's the girl that she
Jessica
put to sleep? Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I was thinking of Amanda Nunes for some reason when you said the head kick.
She got put to sleep.
Oh man, there's a look on the referee's face afterwards too. He just like he just got the hibbity jibbities.
Dude, so I mean, it kind of throws back to how Ben Askren got knocked out, like just out cold.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how that girl went. She was out cold. That was nasty.
Yeah, she was out for a good while too.
Yeah. So I mean, are you expecting the champ to retain her title here?
Still, yes.
Okay. I'm going to lean on her as well. I'm going to lean on Mike Perry on the Kona main event. And I don't think you gave your prediction on Volkan and Latifi.
Yeah, it's kind of a tough one. Volkan, slightly thinner, better striker, in my opinion. And Ilir is a little bit more stout.
I wonder how
grappler.
old Lawler is.
Latifi?
Yes.
Latifi's a little older.
Is he in his mid-30s, late 40s?
Late 30s.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I'm leaning on Volkan on this one as well.
Yeah, I'm going to take Volkan
I've seen him fight a couple of times. He looked good. And I've seen Latifi fight a couple of times as well. But I'm going to lean on Volkan on this one. The other fights on here, I mean, I don't really recognize these fighters. And I'm not sure if you have particularly, so I don't think we should dive into it. But it's looking like it's going to be a pretty good card for this Saturday.
Yes.
With that being said, we are going to talk about upcoming fights. Now, some of these are going to be rumored, and some of these are recently confirmed. So the first one we should get into is Johnny Walker and Corey Anderson, which got confirmed this past week for UFC 244 in Madison Square Garden. This is going to be a great fight.
I'm taking Johnny Walker.
Great fucking fight. Are you really?
I'm taking Johnny Walker.
Okay,
yeah.
Wow. Now, what's your thoughts on Corey Anderson?
I think he's a good fighter.
He's been in the news a lot lately with him calling out John Jones.
He's well-rounded. I think he's an underrated fighter, to be honest with you.
I can see that.
However, I think he's a little bit too what's the word I'm looking for here? He's a little bit too calculated.
Okay.
And his pace, he likes to kind of keep, like, he likes to stand there and kind of figure you out while he figures out his shots. And you're just not going to get a chance to do that.
Johnny Walker has a ton of hype on him right now.
He does.
And would you say that this is his first big test?
Yeah.
Because who did he fight last fight? I don't remember the guy's name.
He fought Misha Serkinov.
Yeah, I don't know.
He's a tough dude. He's a really tough dude, and he sparked him.
But would you say this is his big test here? A big test for him?
Yes.
Okay. This is going to be a great fight, and I'm kind of leaning on Anderson.
Yeah, so here's the thing, though. If he gets thrown, Johnny Walker's name gets thrown around a little bit.
A lot.
Yeah.
Because he's calling out John Jones, and he's coming out of nowhere. I was like, whoa, hold the brakes a little bit,
right,
bro.
so people are throwing his name in the hat for, like, potential opponents, opponents for John.
And I don't blame those people because John is just fucking knocking out dudes, or not knocking out dudes, but, like, going past dudes in the whole division. It's like, who's left for him to fight?
But here's the thing. If Johnny Walker can pull off some sort of crazy finish like the way he has recently, and he does this versus a guy like Corey Anderson in Madison Square Garden, I think all of a sudden we have some justification to Johnny Walker.
I can tell you right now, if Johnny Walker walks away from this fight a statement win, exactly the way Covington did against Lawler, I think then you can put him on the map.
Yeah.
Right now, it's still early. The guy's still young. He's still up and coming.
Yes.
He doesn't have, I mean, would you agree, that win statement that would guarantee him a shot at John Jones?
I mean, he's got, wait, who?
Johnny Walker.
I think he's got, I mean, he's got some statement wins, but not.
I mean, let me see what is his rank? I gotta look it up real quick in the lightweight. Or light heavyweight, I'm sorry. He's ranked 12th.
Okay.
Corey Anderson is at number 8.
Yep.
So, I mean, if he gets a statement win, does that then give him a shot?
I mean, well, when you put it that way, the fact that Corey's ranked number 8.
Corey's ranked 8th and Johnny
Walker
at 12th.
Probably not, but.
Because say what you want about rankings. Some people say they don't mean shit.
Right.
Dana White looks at that. The matchmakers look at that.
They do.
The fighters don't give a shit, and I don't blame them.
How many people above Corey Anderson are there that really make any sense to fight John Jones?
Okay, so let's go through the list. At number 2, we have Thiago Santos, who just lost.
He's not fighting until next year.
Number 3, we have Anthony Smith, who just lost against John Jones. Number 4, we have Dominic Reyes.
Not ready.
Number 5, we have Alexander Gustafsson, who
Gustafsson
I think he just retired.
Yeah.
Number 5, Jan Blachowicz.
Yeah, Jan Blachowicz.
Who just knocked Luke Rockhold to sleep.
He did, but he himself,
I don't think he's earned. I don't think he's ready yet.
He himself got knocked out by Thiago Santos this year.
Number 7 is Volkan, who's fighting this Saturday. Yeah. We'll see.
Right.
And then number 8, you have Corey Anderson.
Yeah. So
who knows? I mean, if Johnny Walker walks away out of this fight with a statement win, a dominating win,
and John Jones,
that could be enough.
The only trouble is that this Madison Square Garden card is in November.
Correct.
And John wants to come back in December.
Correct. But here's the thing, though. If Johnny Walker wins, right? Mm-hmm. Let's say it's not exciting fashion, but he gets to win.
Yeah.
Does John Jones take that fight, or does he decide to take the DC fight?
Probably DC.
Because he has options.
He does.
He can take that DC fight at light heavyweight, make a shit ton of money.
Yep.
And everybody wants to see that.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, just because if Johnny Walker wins, I don't think
potentially what could happen. Potentially what could happen is we could have Johnny Walker with this crazy victory.
Okay.
Right. In November, which is too now short of a notice for him to fight John Jones in December, right? So we can do Johnny Walker wins in November, and then in December John Jones fights DC, and then Johnny Walker can fight the winner of that fight.
Towards the beginning of next year?
Yeah.
Okay, I like that. That's only depending on Johnny Walker wins.
Right. And if Corey Anderson wins, well, who knows what's going on?
Yeah, man. Let that shit start with him going up to John Jones and trying to start a fight. So, yeah, I think it's going to be a great fight. And I'm expecting some fireworks on that one. The next one, it's a rumored fight, but Ben Askren and Damian Maia.
Oh, boy.
When I first saw this, I actually liked this fight for Ben Askren.
Okay.
I think this is a good fight for him to come back following what happened to him against Jorge Masvidal.
Yeah.
This is a winnable fight for him. Well, it's his cup of tea, right?
Not only that, but he's fighting someone that he knows isn't going to
strike him.
Isn't going to flying knee him.
If you're someone that's expecting fireworks from this fight, this is probably not the fight for you.
No, unless you're just like a complete grappling
This is going to be a total grappling, slow-paced, right, type of fight.
It is.
Very technical.
Yes.
And unless you're into that kind of style,
it's going the distance. 100%.
It's not a fight for you. So, but I do like this fight for Ben.
I'm gonna watch the shit out of it.
I'm gonna watch it for sure. I'm still staying with my statement. Ben Askren is overrated as fuck. I'm sorry. He's overrated to me.
Oh, Jesus.
And I was so happy what my boy Jorge Masvidal did to him. But I think this is a great fight for him to take following that loss.
I think it's a winnable
fight.
It's a great fight for both of them.
Stylistically, it's a great fight for him. So it's a good way for him to bounce back if he wins.
Yes, for sure.
So I when I saw that, I was like, that's a good fight for him to take.
Right.
Damian Maia, I don't know where he's at right now in his career. He's approaching, I mean, I don't know how old he is.
He's in his 40s now.
He's in his 40s. Yeah. I think he's at that time for him to walk away from the sport.
Right.
But who knows? I think
this could be his last fight.
It possibly could be.
Yeah.
If he loses, I mean, I don't know.
Right.
But, yeah, when I saw this fight, I think it's a great fight for Askren, and we'll see what ends up happening. The next one we are going to talk about is Holly Holm and Raquel Pennington, UFC 243 in Melbourne.
Yeah.
Great fight.
Yep.
Great fight.
Yep.
I'm curious to see how Holly Holm bounces back from her loss against Amanda Nunes.
Same thing could be said for Raquel Pennington.
Yeah. She lost to Nunes as well.
Yeah. She got broken.
She did.
By Amanda Nunes.
I'm very intrigued to see how these two ladies rebound from that.
Yeah.
None much to say other than I think Holly Holm's still a top threat as far as fighters go, and Raquel Pennington, I still think she still has a lot to give. But great fight, and I'm gonna take Holly Holm on this one.
Yeah, same.
You agree too?
Yeah.
The last one that we're gonna talk about is Zabib against Kelvin Kattar.
Kelvin Kattar.
Yeah. I fucking suck at these names, and I'm
sorry, bro. I got you.
I told you before the start of this podcast that I'm gonna need your help on these names.
I know.
I did not know that they were fighting. This got announced yesterday?
A couple days ago.
My phone's broken, so I haven't had a chance to look at all the MMA news. But when I saw this, I was like, "Wow, interesting." I don't know where Kelvin is ranked
He's like number 11, I think.
Number 11. And Zabib's somewhere, I want to say 10. Maybe I'm wrong. Let me check. Zabib. Oh, shit. I was way off. He's 5.
Yeah. So here's the thing. The thing that excites me the most about this fight is that Kelvin Kattar asked for this fight.
And he got it.
And there's a lot. I don't know how many people in that division right now are calling for a fight with Zabit.
I wouldn't.
But here's
those
the thing.
fucking Russians.
In my opinion, and in some other people's opinions too, I've seen on MMA Twitter already this morning, is that arguably Zabit is a bit overrated.
You think so? I don't think so.
And Kelvin, if anything, is a bit underrated.
I think Zabib is fucking dangerous.
He
for
is.
Any fighter.
He is. But there's a thing. I mean, look, there's a thing. Like, for example, when we were talking about, I think last show I was telling you about the first time I saw Israel Adesanya. I was like, man. This dude shows, like, he's shown that he can do some stuff, right?
For me, Israel lived up the hype against that Kelvin fight.
Well, yeah. And
that did it for me.
For me, I knew that he was for real when he just dismantled Derek Brunson. I mean, the Brad Tavares fight kind of gave me a vibe, but the way he dismantled Brunson gave me that sign. I'm still waiting for that from Zabit.
So you didn't get that from the Jeremy Stephens fight?
No, I did not.
Okay.
I thought Jeremy Stephens made Zabit. I mean, don't get me wrong, Zabit was still landing because he's accurate as fuck, but Jeremy Stephens just showed that he's not necessarily as scary as people make him out to be.
Okay, I can see that.
I think a lot of people are really nervous about him because a couple things actually. Number one, his stature. He's such a big, tall dude.
He's a tall dude.
Number two, he's flashy as hell, and his technique is remarkable, right? He's throwing crazy kicks. He's throwing shit off the wall. He's coming in for crazy inside leg trips and takedowns. He obviously pulled off that Sulov stretch versus Brandon Davis. Don't get me wrong, there's definitely reasons for people to be afraid of Zabit, but he hasn't showed me that like unstoppable like killer instinct quite yet.
Okay.
And I think that this is the perfect fight for something like that to happen. We're gonna learn a lot about both of these fighters.
Yes,
right?
we are.
Is Kelvin really that much better than people think, or is this going to be the fight where Zabit proves to the world that he really is as good as people think he is?
I think Zabib is fucking. What's the word I'm looking for? Like, I think he's for real.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's a tough fight for anybody right now. Even I was saying, like, if he were to match up against Ortega, that's a fucking tough fight for Ortega.
Is. Oh, yeah.
You know, and I worry that he might lose that fight.
Right.
But I don't know. It's just something about these Russians, man. Something about him, Khabib. These fucking fighters, man. They're so damn good. And then on the ground, they're such a threat. And cardio's insane.
Well, that's the interesting thing about Zabit is that he seems to be the only fighter coming out of that area of the world that is more known for their striking than their grappling.
Yeah.
Because when you think of Zabit, that's what you're thinking of. You're thinking about the spinning shit, the stuff off the cage, the hand plant kicks, the stuff like that. When you think of Khabib, you think of getting your ass taken down and mauled.
When you think of him, you're getting put to the ground and just being mauled. And that's what makes him so fucking dominating and scary. Who you lean on this fight? Because I'm leaning on Zabit personally.
Oh, man, this is tough. I think Zabit ultimately takes a decision.
Okay. I said this before. I think it's an interesting fight for him to take. And it wonders now, where does Ortega go?
Well, it seems to me like his only dance partner.
It's Korean Zombie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was telling you that before we started. I think this I think now shows that I think his fight is Korean Zombie. Because if I look at the top 10, right, because he's number 2. I mean, he could do Aldo. I don't know. I mean, there's Frankie Edgar, but he just got off a fight.
And he's going down to bantamweight.
He's going down to bantamweight, yep. And then, which we'll talk about here and shortly. And then 6, you have Korean Zombie. And Yair just got his fight booked in Mexico. Yeah. Jeremy Stephens,
is fighting Yair.
Oh, that's right. So they're headlining UFC Mexico.
Yeah.
Number 9, you have Josh Emmett, who I believe just got off a fight the last pay-per-view. If I'm not mistaken, I just remember seeing his name.
Josh Emmett did fight recently.
Yeah, I remember that. I just don't remember what card it was.
Why am I blanking on it? The last thing that I can remember from Josh Emmett is him knocking out Michael Johnson.
Ooh. And number 10, you have Moicano. But
That's
think
right. He just beat Mirsad Bektic.
yeah. I remember seeing him in the fight. I think so with Sabib now fighting, what's his name? Kelvin. I think this probably, it's safe to say that Ortega is gonna fight Korean Zombie.
I mean, I hope so.
I don't know
what's taking so long.
I don't know what's taking so long either. I hope these guys fight, get it down. Ortega wins, and then rematch. Holloway will, if he's still the champ, which I think he will be. But yeah, no, that should be 2 exciting fights there. I think the last thing we're gonna talk about today is Frankie Edgar heading to bantamweight.
Yeah.
And he's targeting UFC 244. There's some exciting fights for him to think about it.
At bantamweight?
Yeah.
There's a ridiculous amount. Yeah.
You have.
Well, hang on a minute. Well, first of all, Cejudo's not fighting until way later. He's not fighting until next year for sure. Okay. And his first fight is flyweight.
I'm just naming fighters in general that are in that division. So we have Henry Cejudo.
Yeah.
You have Cody.
Yeah.
Whether you still want to, think of him as a top contender.
Yeah. You have Aljamain Sterling. Petr Yan.
Who looks fucking great.
Jimmy Rivera is still there.
There's one more guy. I want to say Dominic Cruz, but we don't know what the status is of Dominic Cruz.
Yeah.
He just seems to always be getting injured.
Yeah.
So I don't know what's his status right now, but
we should expect him to fight probably either at the very end of the year or at the early stages of next year.
Dominic Cruz?
Yeah.
Do you think he can take a fight against Uriah Faber?
I mean,
is that a fight you want to see right now?
Not really.
Because Faber's ranked 14.
Yeah, not really, to be honest with you.
That's not a fight that really interests you anymore?
No, I'd rather see him versus Frankie Edgar.
That'd be a good fight.
Yeah, it would.
So then who would you agree that his next fight should be against?
Who?
Frankie Edgar at bantamweight. I'd like to see him fight against Faber. Personally. I mean, unless you want to give him a guy that's in the top 10.
Frankie Edgar?
Yeah.
Yeah, why not?
I feel like, he's coming off a title shot. I don't think you should give him just a nobody.
What's the rankings on the? Let's take a look at the bantamweight rankings.
All right, so we're gonna look at the champ, Henry Cejudo. Number 1, the top contender, we have Marlon.
Okay.
Number 2, Sterling. Number 3, Rafael. I can't pronounce the last name.
Assunção?
There you go. Peter Yan at number 4. Pedro Munoz at number 5. Dominic Cruz at number 6. Cody Carbreath at number 7.
Cody Carbreath?
What's his last name? It's hard to say these fucking names, bro. I'm going to call him No Love. How about that? I'm going to say Cody No Love. How do you say his last name?
Garbrandt.
I'm cutting that off, bro. I don't give a fuck.
Cody's a mechanic in the next life.
I'm cutting that one off. I'm going to edit that shit off.
Oh, keep it. It's amazing.
Number 8, Jimmy Rivera.
Yeah.
Number 9, Corey Sandhagen.
Which, if you don't know Corey Sandhagen, you definitely should, because he's fighting at 241.
Against who?
Rafael Assunção.
Oh, okay. Interesting fight.
Yes.
Number 10, Cody
Stamen.
Yeah.
Okay.
Number 11, Rob Font.
Yeah.
12, John Dodson.
Yep.
13, Song Yadong. 14, Uriah Faber. And 15, Thomas Almeida. And that rounds up the top 15. So if I'm looking at this list, I like Edgar to take on that fight against Faber.
Yeah.
It's an interesting fight. You have 2 guys who have names behind them.
I take it.
I think that's enough either to headline a UFC fight night.
Or shit. Have they fought already 3 times? Wait, no, you said Frankie Edgar versus Uriah Faber?
Yes.
Okay.
Is that a good fight? Do you feel like?
Yeah, I don't see a problem with it.
Yeah. I think that's a fight that you can headline for UFC fight night.
I'm not mistaken. They've fought before, though.
You think so?
Yes.
And if Dana wants to give Frankie Edgar, let's say, a top 10 opponent, I'm looking at two guys right now.
He did fight Uriah Faber.
At what weight division?
Featherweight.
145. Who won that fight?
Frankie Edgar.
Frankie Edgar.
Decision.
Okay.
50 to 45.
Okay. Yeah, if I was a matchmaker, I'd give him that fight. Now, if I'm Dana, if it was me who was matchmaking, that's the fight that interests me. If I'm going to put myself in Dana's shoes and what he would do, knowing how Dana is, Dana's probably going to give him a top 10 opponent.
Maybe Frankie should get the winner of Corey Sandhagen versus Rafael Assunção.
Possibly.
Yeah.
I mean, is that what you're thinking?
The timeline makes sense.
Okay.
This fight's in August. August. And November's 3 months away. That's a good time for him to heal up from the fight.
When is he targeting to come back? UFC 244, is that?
Madison Square Garden.
Okay, so that's in November. Okay, that's enough time for him.
Yeah.
That's enough time for him. Yeah, no, I like the Faber fight. I also like the fights between Jimmy and Cody. No love.
Cody Carbreath.
I am not saying his last name anymore. No love. So we'll see what happens, Frankie. I hope you bounce back from that fight. You looked good.
He did.
And I think you're at an advantage going down to 135. These guys are smaller. He is a small guy.
He is.
I think it'll work out for him for the best. And I think that wraps up the MMA talk. I don't know if you want to dive into anything else.
Apex.
Actually, before we move on to like non-gaming news, we are going to be heading to UFC 241.
Yes.
That's happening next week. And so we need to take
2 weeks from now.
Or 2 weeks from now. We need to get together and figure out what's going to be happening. But we're not going to talk about our previews of the fight or the main event card until next week's episode. I figured it was best to do it leading up to that Saturday. So we'll when we record next Tuesday, we'll give our predictions and break down the main card there. So we're excited about UFC 241. We're going to try to do some interviews there if we can. It probably may be just audio only. We'll see what happens. If not, we'll shoot some cool footage while we're there. Maybe some footage of the fighters themselves while we're there. And then we'll post them up on our YouTube and our Instagram and our Facebook and Twitter. So keep an eye out. But yeah, let's talk about Apex. How's been Apex for you lately?
So it was going absolutely great.
Okay.
I was at Gold 4, getting a little frustrated how long the RP was taking, and I just decided to put in some longer hours during the day and started grinding.
Well, now you're in Platinum, bro.
Yeah, I started moving up the rankings. I was like, let's go,
I'm still at Gold.
Finally make it to Plat, and it is misery.
So I was happy for you that you made Platinum.
Yeah.
But then I thought, oh shit, that means I have to play in Platinum. Fuck you, Kelvin. Because I'm at Gold 1.
Yeah.
And I think I'm like maybe 50 or 40 RP away from Platinum 4.
Yeah.
And I was like, fuck. And then as soon as we started playing Platinum, I was like, damn, dude, it's hard.
Bruh, I lost.
It's not easy.
Sometimes it takes me like 8 games
for sure
to get 10 RP points.
Yeah.
Right? Like, let's say I'm hypothetically at like 400. It'll take me like 8 games to like get to 410. And now that I'm in Plat, I'll play 3 games and lose 9 RP in 3 games.
Yeah. Yeah, it's one of those things where you just you like once you play ranked, you have to like play for RP.
Yes.
You can't just be gun ho.
No. Like if you're
if you're someone that wants to move up.
Yes.
The rankings.
Like if you and another teammate are knocked and you have one teammate left, don't expect them to come back and get you.
So that happened to us plenty of times. Like you went down, Manny, our friend, went down. I was like, all right, sorry guys, I'm playing for RP, bro.
Dip. Yep.
I'm dipping. I'm gonna hide in a corner, and once it's like top 3, then I'm gonna come out and start shooting like crazy. But I know I'm gonna die. But I get that. What's top 3? How many points is that? 7 points.
7 points.
I'm gonna get that 7 points for my team. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm thinking about the team. But yeah, no, I'm ranked 1 gold, and I'm pretty close to Platinum 4. And I love playing ranked. I don't even want to play non-ranked. It's so easy, huh? When you play non-ranked, you're like, also, damn, people suck.
Also, not to mention when you're playing ranked, like for example, if I'm playing non-ranked, if I don't win, the game's a waste. I'm pissed.
For sure.
But if you're playing ranked, you might not win the game, but you might come away with some satisfaction from
Yeah,
making
you know
top
what?
5.
Like, great, I got 5 RP,
Yeah.
2 RP. I'm positive.
Yeah.
Right? I'm slowly working my way up
Yes.
to better competition.
Exactly.
And then when you're up there, you feel justified. Like, damn, I
Yes.
belong right there.
Yes.
You know, so yeah, it's the rank system is such a whole cool new way of adding exciting gameplay to the game itself. And I hope they continue to build on it. I don't know what more you can do to it, the ranking system.
Mhm.
Your dog's like wanting to pet me or wants me to pet her. But no, I the ranking system or the rank system itself is where it's at. And yeah, she's not. I think she just wants to jump on my leg.
Here,
It's been a long day for her. I've been playing a lot of Apex. There's a lot of games that I'm trying to catch up on too. Far Cry New Dawn is a game that I need to get on. I have a bunch of games that I haven't played yet. Spider-Man. What's that PlayStation game with the guy on the motorcycle? She's like, get me off this fucking table.
She says, "I like the treats. I want all the treats
Yeah.
and all the love and attention." And that's her opinion.
Yeah, man. I mean, other than that, there's just like games I'm trying to catch up on. Spider-Man, that game with the guy with the motorcycle, the PlayStation game. I forgot the fuck. He's like a biker, and it's like zombies.
Cyberpunk?
No, it came out already.
Watch Dogs?
No, I love Watch Dogs, by the way. What's that fucking game?
Shows you how much video games I play.
I'm like fucking.
Speaking of which, I play Apex. I play UFC 3, so if you want the smoke, come get it. NHL, we'll do some of that. That's about it.
Did you hear that Tom Brady got a new contract?
Fuck Tom Brady.
Dude. So what's your thoughts about that?
That's about him what?
He got this new contract structure, seems like.
I think that Tom Brady is a giant piece of shit.
Why do you hate Tom Brady so much?
Because he's just too good.
He's a winner.
It's 100%. It's 100% bitterness.
Okay.
Entirely.
It's not hate. It's just being bitter that he's always winning.
No, it's hate and bitterness. Yeah.
Did you have a chance to see?
But I'm not a moron. The dude is like... I mean, I have my reservations about calling him the greatest of all time.
So this is my takeaway from Tom Brady. And it might be controversial.
Okay.
But that's what we do here in this podcast. I think Tom Brady is a fantastic football player, obviously.
Yes.
But I think he's a product of being in a great system.
Okay.
If we compare quarterbacks skill for skill,
yeah.
Do you consider Tom Brady the most skillful passer we've ever seen in this game?
Not of all time.
I don't think so. No.
But I would still put him in like... He's got to be at least top 4. Like, the dude is... You know what I mean? Because, look, there's a lot of that, right? Because of his inability to scramble really well, he doesn't do any, like, the super flashy, crazy things like a Russell Wilson or Ben Roethlisberger or Cam Newton or any guy that can move on his feet really well. There's this common accusation that because he can only stand in the pocket, the only reason that he's having success is because of the system or whatever, which is just false. I am the biggest Tom Brady hater on planet Earth.
Right.
But I will tell you that the dude has a skill set that is so advanced that it's difficult for some people to recognize.
Yeah.
Like his timing, his accuracy, his ball velocity, his ball placement, which receiver he chooses to throw to. All of these are just basic fundamental skills of quarterbacking, and he has them on a level that's above almost anybody else.
But to counter that, we've seen quarterbacks that are not on his level start for the Patriots and still be successful.
Yes,
we've seen Jimmy Garoppolo.
Yeah.
We've seen another quarterback.
We've seen
last
Jacoby
name
Brissett, Matt Castle.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they were still winning football games.
Yes.
So because of that, it makes me feel that the system that they have placed in New England is so damn on point.
Here's a question for you though. Yes, I will agree with you on that because I've been watching football for a long time.
Correct.
And every time, I mean, there's only been a couple times now that Tom Brady wasn't starting for the Patriots. And almost every single time that somebody that wasn't Tom Brady,
things were still going
they
well.
were still going, right?
Still going well.
But here's the thing. They were winning games, yes. But hypothetically speaking, if you could have 4 completely different realities with everything that Tom Brady has accomplished, and you put, from the very beginning, from like the 2001 season, you put those other 3 guys in those situations, would they have been as prolific and successful as Tom Brady?
Let me ask you this.
Like Matt Castle, for example, went 11-5.
Okay, I can agree with that.
Right?
I can agree with that.
Matt Castle went 11-5 that year that he got injured.
Now, if we're comparing, like you mentioned, Tom Brady with the top 4, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's take Peyton Manning and put him in that system. Is he going to put more numbers up than what did Tom Brady did?
Man.
I have to say yes.
Yeah, probably.
Absolutely.
Probably.
If Peyton Manning had a system like New England did and with the Colts, there's no question he would have been
but also
breaking records.
But also, there is something to be said for the fact that the system that he had in Indianapolis also allowed him to be as huge and as
For sure.
great as he was.
I think the big difference was not having a guy like Bill Belichick.
Yeah, I mean Tony Dungy.
He was a great head coach, no
Absolutely,
question.
but there's only one.
There's
Bill Belichick.
something about Bill Belichick.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is that teams try to replicate, right? Because there's 32 teams, but there's yet only one team that had the same coach for how long? He's been with New England since
2001.
So that's what, 18 years
Yeah.
with one team?
Yeah.
There's something about that. I don't know what it is that he's doing down there. I don't know.
Spying on people.
I don't know.
Deflating footballs. Shit like that.
Yeah. But that was
The
my
New England
2 cents
Patriots
about.
are the John Jones of football. Incredibly successful.
I can see that.
Super controversial.
Who would you say is the Conor of football? Conor McGregor.
I'm gonna say probably the Carolina Panthers.
Really?
Yeah, went 15.
What makes you say that?
Went 15-1 that season. We're just putting up
and didn't
ridiculous
defend their
numbers.
belt.
They kind of like came from nowhere, right? And as soon as the going got tough and they didn't make it, that Super Bowl year, it just went all to shit after that.
Well, since we're on the topic of football, let's give our thoughts on our teams and the outlook of this upcoming season.
It's so hard for me to be It's so hard for me not to be a homer right now.
What do you mean?
Like, you know what a homer is?
No.
Like super biased. You're just like super biased because like your team.
No. But like, can you honestly give your honest critique on the team right now?
Yeah, but I feel like my honest critique is gonna come off like a homer. So here's what I'll say. So
like people are gonna hear this and be like, "You're such a bullshitting your team." Like, okay.
Yeah. So at this point, I think it really comes down to what our offense looks like.
Okay.
Okay. So Doug Baldwin is gone. I'm a Seahawks fan. For those of you didn't know, Doug Baldwin is gone.
Yeah.
That hurts.
Okay.
A lot because it screws up a lot of stuff. Number one, we lose our top receiver.
Yep.
Right, the guy that's the biggest threat, the most veteran guy in there, and his departure means that Tyler Lockett, who was a phenom last year, moves. He moves position because he's taking over Doug Baldwin's duties, right? So how is that going to affect our offense? That's one thing. Number one, what are we going to do with the tight end position? We haven't really had. I mean, we had the Jimmy Graham experiment, which worked out to some extent. But
yeah, is he still with the team?
No. So we haven't really had a good tight end presence in a while. Our offensive line, I feel like, should be a little better this year. Our running game, what's that going to look like?
Who's your guys' starting running back?
Chris Carson.
I don't know him.
Yeah, Chris Carson. We have Rashad Penny too. We have CJ Prosise, who can't seem to stay healthy.
You guys had a lot of changes since you had the Legion of Boom.
Oh yeah. So
Sherman's
all
not
of these
there
questions
no more.
that I'm
Earl Thomas. Is
all
not
of these
there
questions
no
that
more.
I'm raising though are all offensive based.
Oh, okay.
As far as defense goes, we're good.
Okay, you guys still feel like you're good.
Yeah.
Are you still
when
set?
we were talking about Bill Belichick earlier,
Yeah.
about there's just something about Belichick. There's something about Pete Carroll when it
I was
comes
going
to
to ask you.
defenses.
So where are you at right now with Pete Carroll, and since he's been with Seahawks,
No
have you
issue
been
with him.
satisfied?
Yeah,
No
no
issue?
issue with him.
Okay.
People complain all the time about the Super Bowl call.
Which was a terrible call.
It was not. It was not. I agree.
Come on, bro.
I finally have a platform.
Okay,
talk
that's
about
where the
this.
bias right there is coming out of.
No. Let me. I'm gonna make you a believer.
You don't
ready?
throw the football when you're at the 1 yard line. That's
you're an Eskimo. I'm about to sell you ice. You ready?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, so here's the situation, right? So we can establish what the situation is.
Okay.
It's 1st and 5.
Okay.
Because there was a penalty.
Okay.
Okay. So it should have been. Well, I mean, it's 1st and goal. Right?
Okay.
But we're on the 5-yard line.
Okay.
Okay. One timeout.
Your first down. You said first down.
First down. Okay. First down, 5 yards to go. One timeout.
Okay.
Okay. With like less than 40 seconds remaining on the clock.
Okay.
So at this point, right, you have 4 downs, which is great, but you only have one timeout.
Okay.
Okay. So that's very important. That means you need to be very conscious about clock management.
Okay.
Because you don't want to blow that timeout too early.
Now, how much time was on the clock?
Less than 40 seconds. I don't remember the exact.
Okay.
But the point being is that you don't have a whole lot of time to waste.
Okay.
Right? These things need to be bang, bang, bang. So what you need to do is you need to prepare for the worst case scenario, which is that you don't get it in on 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. That's the worst case scenario, is that it's 4th down and you're still not in. Right? So ideally, when you go into your 3rd down scenario, you still want your timeout. Because if you don't get if you don't get it in on 3rd down, you want to use your last timeout, and then it's 4th and goal, and it's all or nothing at that point. Cool?
Yeah.
Okay. So here's what happened. If you want to use your 1st down on 3rd down, that means that 1st and 2nd down you're going to have to get through without using a timeout. Okay? So when they went in on 1st down, they went in on no huddle. When you go in no huddle, typically that means that the first play and the second play are chosen ahead of time, so that when the first play ends, you can immediately get into the second play.
Yeah.
Right? So me, as somebody in like an offensive mind scheme, like if I'm the person calling the plays, it's a no-brainer for me. Here's the sequence that I'm doing with these parameters. 1st and 5, one timeout, less than 40 seconds. Here is my sequence. I'm going to run the ball on 1st down. Okay? And I'm either going to get the ball in and win the game, or the ball is not going to get in, the clock's going to keep on running, and I run my second play. My second play is going to be a pass, right? Because here's what's going to happen. Either you're going to successfully pass the ball in the end zone and win, or it's going to be an incomplete pass, and the clock stops. You following?
Yeah, I'm following you.
So first down, run the ball, you don't get in, clock's running. You're in no huddle. You run the second play, you pass. It's an incomplete pass. The clock is dead. You run the 3rd down. You run the ball on 3rd down. If you don't get in, you use a timeout. And on 4th down, you run the ball again.
There's so many things that have to happen for all that to be perfect, Kelvin. You do know that, right?
It's actually not that unlikely.
It's the biggest game of the year.
What's really unlikely.
And you're banking on the clock, and you're banking on timing.
Yes.
But for all that to happen perfectly.
Yes.
Everything has to be smooth.
The only part that's iffy is the pass.
So, okay, let's take a step back. When that pass happened, was that on a 1st down, 2nd down,
it was
or 3rd?
on 2nd down.
2nd down.
Yes.
Okay. And was the clock ticking at that time?
The clock was ticking at the time. Yes. So what you want to do is you want to pass the ball, because you have 3 possibilities. The ball gets caught and it's a touchdown and you win, right? Which I would give like a 40% chance of happening.
I did not like the pass down the middle.
It was to the side.
Was it?
Yeah, it was to the side going towards the middle.
I have to watch it because it
wasn't dead center. It was off to the side. And here's what happened. I'm not salty about it, and I'll explain why. There's 3 possibilities when it comes to that play. The ball gets caught. It's a touchdown. You win, right? Which is slightly less than likely, in my opinion. Or it's an incomplete pass, and the clock stops, and you're in good shape. You still have one timeout left going into 3rd down, right? Clock stops. In my opinion, pretty likely that would happen.
Okay.
Or the 3rd option is it gets intercepted, which is probably kind of unlikely.
Okay.
And that's what happened. The guy made a brilliant play. He read it.
He read it perfectly.
He cut it. He played strong to the ball.
Yeah.
And he intercepted it.
Yeah.
That's it.
I did not like the play because of who you had on your backfield.
Marshawn Lynch. But listen to me. That's why I needed to lay it out. There's 4 downs. 3 of those downs, you're going to run the ball. 3 of them. You have to pass one time.
You don't have to pass.
Yes, you do.
No, you don't.
You only have one timeout.
No, you don't.
Yes, you do.
No, you don't.
You only have one time. How else would you stop the clock? Let's say you have one timeout left, and you run the ball 4 times, and you never get it in.
But when you're that close, you're not thinking. You just get the ball in, and you have Marshawn Lynch.
I understand you have Marshawn Lynch.
You're banking off Marshawn Lynch. And if I'm not mistaken, he was having a hell of a year that year.
Marshawn Lynch was the option 75% of the time.
Okay.
There's 3 downs. 3 of them. 3 of 4. The majority of them are designed for Marshawn Lynch. So when you say that you're banking on Marshawn Lynch, that's kind of like a dig saying, like, how could you not give it to Marshawn Lynch?
But we can agree that obviously that plan passing didn't work out because look what happened.
Exactly.
So it didn't work out.
But just because it didn't work out, it's a common thing in football. When somebody makes a stupid-ass call and it works, it was a good call. No, it was a shitty call that worked out.
For sure.
This was not a shitty call. This was a good call that didn't work out. That's what happened.
I don't know. You're the only person I met that...
It baffles me.
Yeah, you're the only person.
Me. Yeah. I'm like, does nobody play Madden? Like, does nobody understand?
I play Madden.
Does nobody understand
when I'm within the 5 or 1 yard line, I'm pounding the ball.
Okay.
I'm not passing the ball.
Okay, what did we do on first down?
What did you do on first down? I don't remember the game.
We ran the ball.
Years ago.
We ran the ball.
Okay.
Okay. We did on second. What we did on second down was throw the ball. You know what we were gonna do on third down? Run the ball.
Okay.
You know what we were gonna do on fourth down? Run the ball.
Okay.
I get it. Like, the point is run the ball. Yeah, Marshawn Lynch. I get it. But I'm telling you, you have to pass at least once. You have to. You just have to. If you have 2 timeouts, you run the ball all 4 times.
I don't know.
Yep. Michael, what do you mean you don't know? What do you not
know?
I
wouldn't do that.
Why not?
That's me.
How are you gonna manage the clock?
I'd keep running the ball. I have a timeout.
You have 1 timeout.
And actually, what was the score at that point?
It was a 4-point game.
Okay.
So you need to score a touchdown.
Okay.
Okay.
So I'm gonna keep running the ball.
I need you to answer this question for me, though.
This is what I would do.
Okay.
I don't care if it's first, second, or third. I have a timeout in my pocket.
Yes.
I'm going to keep pounding the ball until I see the clock. If it's close to maybe 10, 15, then okay. Then I'm going to pass the ball because I have 1 shot at this.
Yes.
I tried running the ball 2 times. It didn't work.
Okay.
That's what I would do.
Okay. So watch. Here's what happens. You have like 35 seconds left, right?
Okay. I'm going to keep pounding the ball. And once I approach 10 seconds or 5 seconds, I call my timeout. I'm going for the pass.
Okay. So you would go for the pass on 4th down.
Depending on where the clock is.
Okay. But you're at least agreeing that passing 1 time in those 4 downs is not unreasonable.
It's not unreasonable. It's all situational.
It is. It's situational ball.
Yeah.
But the only thing it sounds like you and I disagree on then is where the pass happens. Right? But here's my argument to you, though. If you run on 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, right? At that point, if the defense knows you have to run, you have to throw the ball at least once, and you already ran on 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, they can bring in a nickel package on the goal line. Just bring all their DBs out there.
But how many times have we seen that throughout the years? We've seen teams at the 1 yard line. You know they're gonna run it. They give everything that they got, and they still score. We see it all the time.
Yes.
It's can you stop that?
Right.
And at that time, the Seahawks, I think, them running the ball, they were like killing it that year. If I'm not mistaken.
Listen to me. I'm telling you this right now. If that ball doesn't get intercepted, if it's an incomplete pass,
different story right now.
We win the game.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, we win the game.
But that's sports, man.
It's a game of inches.
That's sports.
It was that close.
That's sports. Yeah. I was watching the game. I don't remember everything because it was years ago.
Yeah.
Right. Like how long ago was that game?
This was 4 years ago.
Okay, so I don't remember everything, but I just remember like there was time left on the clock, enough time to still get a down or 2 left, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. And I just remember thinking, oh, wow, they passed the ball. Because I was thinking, they're going to run the ball.
Right.
Marshawn Lynch in your backfield, run the ball.
Right.
And then once it gets down to maybe 10 seconds, then you start thinking, passing the ball, using your timeouts, but they passed it.
But remember, for everyone in the world, and that's like 99% of people that you talk to about this situation, for the 99% of people in the world that keep chiming about running the ball, with 1 timeout and that many seconds left on the clock, you can't run the ball 4 straight times. No.
I'm not saying that. You know? Like I said, it's all situational.
Yes.
As you go down each down, you're banking on the clock to go smoothly. You never know if it can take 10, 15, maybe 3 seconds. You really don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
It's all down by down by down.
Right.
And so I'm only basing it off that down when they decided to pass, what the time was left on the clock.
Right.
That's what I'm basing it off.
Yeah. Ultimately, though,
because some runs may take off a couple seconds. Some runs can take off 10, 11. It's all situational.
Right.
But that was a tough play.
It was. I don't have a problem with it, though. I don't have a problem with the call. And it wasn't a fluke or anything like that. I've watched the play a million times.
Yeah.
The guy just made a phenomenal play.
Malcolm Butler.
He read it. He jumped it. Played strong on the ball. Got the pick.
I'm almost wondering if he knew that play before it was called.
Oh, 100%.
He must have.
Film study.
Because as soon as
he knew it was going.
As soon as the ball was snapped, he went directly.
Yep.
He cut off the receiver basically.
Yeah, he did.
I was like, holy cow, what a play.
And that's the only problem that I had, and a couple other people had problems with it too, is that the guy that was supposed to catch the ball.
Who was that?
Ricardo Lockett.
Okay.
Shout out to him. He had to retire because of a back injury that he suffered versus the Cowboys.
Right.
He could have played the ball a little stronger maybe because he got bullied for that ball. Like basically what happened was, the Malcolm Butler and Ricardo met where the ball was going to be. They met there at the same time.
Yeah.
Like shoulder to shoulder.
He literally got pushed away. Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, and Malcolm Butler won that
easy.
Yeah.
He wanted it more.
Yeah, he
basically.
did exactly. Yeah.
That was the difference.
I don't think Ricardo Lockett was expecting that kind of resistance.
Nope.
And that's what happened.
Nope.
Yep.
Malcolm Butler just got there quicker, and when you get there quicker, your body's gonna naturally just push everything away because you're directing your motion at that one particular spot.
Precisely.
So, my thoughts are actually your final thoughts on Seahawks this year.
I like it. I like our chances. I think the Rams are still going to be something to worry about. I'm not worried about the Cardinals. I think they're like 1 or 2 seasons late.
Okay.
But I'm terrified of the San Francisco 49ers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. You think this is their breakout year?
Yeah, it better be.
Okay.
Because I despise
You've
the 49ers.
been waiting for them, right? With all the moves they've been making.
Yeah, I've despised the 49ers with every living fiber in my body.
Right.
But they're overdue for a breakout year.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I'm very intrigued to see what Oakland does this year. This is their last year in Oakland.
Mm-hmm.
They've added some pretty good pieces. Antonio Brown, Vontaze Burfict, who I did not like at first, but he's starting to grow on me.
I knew him back in the day, actually.
Yeah, I knew him too. He went to Corona High, or not to Corona. He went to Centennial.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of crazy. The last time I ever spoke to him was literally.
He was a big fucking dude when I saw him in high school.
Last time I spoke to him was like a 10-minute walking distance from here.
The first time I met him, he actually went to Corona for summer school. Okay. And I remember seeing him, and I just remember how massive he was.
He's a big dude. Yeah.
And then I remember watching him play against our school and then watching him play against Modern Day when Matt Berkeley was the quarterback.
Yeah.
And he was I think he was number 7 for Centennial. He was a massive fucking dude. And sure enough, he went on to play at Arizona State. Was supposed to play at USC, if you didn't know.
Yeah.
He accepted a scholarship to USC.
Didn't make grades.
Yeah, that exactly. Didn't make grades. Ended up going to Arizona State and then got drafted by the Bengals and now with the Raiders. So initially when they signed Burfict, I wasn't too happy because of that stigma that he had about being a dirty player.
Not to mention he's going to the Raiders too. And the Raiders have their own stigma. So you combine those two things together.
For sure. So it's kind of growing me a little bit. But they've added some pieces that I've...
Like, I'm sure you won't make you happy to hear this, but I'm sure you won't be shocked either that when I heard he was going to the Raiders, I was like, of course.
Yeah. I was just looking at him as a player.
Yeah,
I was like, we don't need that type of player.
100%. Yeah.
But I'm intrigued to see what happens. A year ago, I wasn't watching this team at all. I think I'll be the first one to admit it. When John Gruden got hired on as a coach, I was excited, but I hated the fucking contract. I hated it.
10 years, $100 million?
You gave this guy
He's making Conor McGregor money.
That you're signing this guy for 10 years, over $100 million, right? A guy that hasn't been in the game for over...
A decade.
And you're giving him basically the keys to the franchise.
Yeah.
Because he basically pushed aside Reggie, who was our GM.
Yeah.
He pushed him aside. And what does he do? He gets rid of arguably... the closest thing we've seen to Lawrence Taylor in forever, and Khalil Mack. He gets rid of Amari Cooper. He got rid of Michael Crabtree. He got rid of all these fucking pieces that I was just so happy for them to be there. Because that year when they went 12-4, I think it was 2-3 years ago, they were playing so fucking good, but their defense was the reason why they couldn't be as great as of a team as they should be, right?
Right.
And then Derek Carr goes down at the end of the year, and that was a tough one. I felt like they still had the pieces, but then John Gruden comes in. He trades them, and I was so fucking frustrated that they gave away Mack and Cooper that I stopped watching the team, and I did not watch football at all last year. At all. I did not want to watch the Oakland Raiders. I was almost to the point where I was like, fuck football, fuck this team, I'm never watching football again. I was at that point. And I think you asked me, like, do you watch football? I was like, no. Because of what John Gruden did, I'm not a fan of the Raiders anymore. Then this season comes around.
Oh, boy.
Then this season comes around, and I'm like, all right, well, everything's starting to die down a little bit. I look at the pieces they got. It's exciting. Derek Carr is still by far my favorite quarterback, and the fact that he's still playing on this team blows me away. I thought he was going to be traded. I thought his days were absolutely outnumbered, and I think this is a make it or break it year for Derek Carr.
Yep.
If he does not perform at the ability that I thought he could perform, I think he is going to end up being traded or released or whatever. I don't think John Gruden's going to want to take on that contract knowing that he's not producing at that level. So this is a make it break a year for Derek Carr. I don't know what the Raiders are going to do. I really don't. It's going to depend on that defense. I mean, they have the pieces, it seems like, on offense to be good. But it's going to depend on that defense.
Yep.
Because in Oakland, it's like been like a nagging joke is that they haven't had a good defense since like fucking 2002.
Nnamdi Asomugha.
That was like 2004.
Mm.
I remember that name.
Yeah.
I remember him.
It was a little later than
They
that.
haven't had a great defense since 2002 when Bill Romanowski, Rod Woodson, Charles Woodson, you know, all these great players. And since then, their defense has just been fucking a laughingstock. And, you know, it's just been that question, like, when are they going to figure this out? When are they going to finally put together a good defense? Because we've had years when we had good offenses, but just a terrible defense. And I'm a strong believer in the NFL. We've seen teams that have had decent offenses, but yet have such a strong defense that they make a playoff push. And I think it's important to have a good defense.
Yes,
I think that's a
absolutely.
building block.
Defense wins.
It's really true. We've seen teams win championships off a great defense and a metacore offense.
Yeah.
And it's, for me, the key is how does Derek Carr look this season? Because he's going to dictate whether the offense is going to be explosive or not, right? Because he's the leader of that offense.
Right.
He's ultimately going to be the reason of getting the ball to Antonio Brown's
Right.
hands. But my big thing that I'm going to be looking out for is that defense.
All right, I'm going to talk shit before we sign out of here. The Raiders.
About the Raiders?
Yeah, the Raiders would have had a chance to have a 99 ranked player on their
But
squad.
they traded away Mac.
They traded away. But you know who does have a 99?
The Bears.
The fucking Seahawks.
Who?
Bobby Wagner, baby. B-Wags.
Safety? Is he safety?
He's the best middle linebacker in the league.
Oh, shit. Whoa.
Safety. No, don't whoa me.
Would you
the
say
best middle linebacker
is he
in
the
the
best defender in the league?
Negative.
Okay, because if you were going to say positive, I
No.
was going to shut this thing off.
Negative.
This podcast will be over. Yeah.
No, B-Wags. Shout out to Southern California. Shout out to Ontario, California.
Dude, did you see that? I think it was the or EA Sports. They gave the 99 ranked players these gold shoes.
Sick.
Fucking sick.
Sick.
I saw Khalil Mack get his shoes. No. Who's that guy from the Rams? Aaron Donald.
Aaron Donald.
Saw him got his, like, a cool little gold box. Opens it up. Saw gold Nike shoes. Like, fucking sick.
That's a scary man.
Oh, no question.
That's a scary man.
If you can give Aaron Donald a massive contract, why wouldn't you give Khalil Mack a massive contract? I'm talking to John Gruden.
Hang on, I'm having like this.
If there's one guy who
this daydream
deserves
right now about,
to make that kind of money, you're telling me you're not willing to give Mack that kind of money?
Yo, dude, the NFC.
Would you agree or disagree
What?
about that whole Mack
Why
Mack
wouldn't
situation?
if you can give John Gruden a contract, why don't you give Max?
No. If the Rams are willing to give a guy
Aaron Donald
of that
big a
caliber
contract,
that contract,
Yeah.
why wouldn't you give Mack that contract?
No idea. But I
That
just realized
baffles me, and
the-
that's one of the reasons why I didn't want to watch the Raiders anymore.
the NFC Pro Bowl team.
As long as John Gruden was the head coach.
I think the Pro Bowls works a little different now, right? Isn't there like team captains or something?
Dude,
now?
they're changing, like, the fucking Pro Bowl is becoming a joke to me.
Oh,
they're
it's been a joke
changing the way they play the game every year, it seems like. They have, like, Michael
It's not
Irvin.
worth
and
watching. Yeah.
No, hell no. You know what's an exciting All-Star game? The fucking NBA.
Yeah, or the NHL.
The NHL is exciting too, but then you have the slam dunk, the 3-point contest, and then you got the fucking...
The quarterback challenges were sick, though, this year. They were
fun.
lit.
Yeah, for sure.
Russell Wilson.
But the game itself...
Oh, yeah, the game's
They need
trash.
to figure something out.
But hang on a minute. If they did it the old school way where, like, NFC's on the NFC team and AFC's on the AFC team, you could have Aaron Donald, Khalil Mack, and Bobby Wagner on the same team.
Don't forget about J.J. Watt.
He's on the AFC squad.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's scary, dude.
That's filthy. It's disgusting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm still bitter.
And Landon Collins.
I'm still bitter about that Khalil Mack trade.
Well, shit, I would be too, bro.
That one hurt me big time.
Yeah.
I just don't think that you trade away a guy who's in his prime, who's being compared to fucking Lawrence Taylor.
What are we at anyway?
We're almost an hour and 30 minutes.
Nice.
I think you think that's good?
Yeah, it's pretty good.